Abel says, "Hey, Austin and Robert, I'm a huge fan of the show and I've been watching for a couple months now. I'm 19 years old and I've been doing what you guys talk about. I have $5,000 invested, most of it being into the NASDAQ and a little bit into Bitcoin. My question is, I currently have $5,200 sitting in a special rate savings account paying 2% yield. But I hear you all always talking about these accounts paying 4 or 5%. So my question is, for my $5,200, is it worth paying the $60 a year to get Robinhood Gold to get their 4% yield, or should I use something else? I also live at home and make $3,000 a month after taxes, and will be in this situation for about 2 more years before I move out. Huge fan of the show. Thank you all for the help." Yeah, so Abel, great question. No, you should not pay $60 a year for Robinhood Gold to get their 4% yield. You should pay $0 a year. Go to public.com, open up a high yield cash account with them paying 4.1%, and have your $5,200 in there. Now, the big thing, though, that I want to make sure we're all on the same page about, because a lot of people, this is asked a ton in the Rich Habits Network, because we're always the type that want to make sure people know the hacks, the strategies, everything they can do to optimize their saving, their spending, their investing, everything along the way. And we take pride in being able to share those ideas with you all. But one of the things that just always cracks me up is there's people out there that are like, "Yeah, guys, I've got like 15 grand in this high yield savings account at 4%, but I moved it over to this one that's paying 4.5% so I could start making some more money," and all these things. And I'm just like, wait, did you do the math on that? Do you understand that by going through all those hoops and ladders of trying to figure out how to move from one account to another to get an extra 0.5% on $15,000 is only $75 a year? Don't get me wrong, $75 is a lot of money for a lot of people, and I'm not trying to say it's not. But make sure that when you're going through some of these steps that you are accounting for the brain calories and the time spent and all those things. I mean, you could go work a job paying $15 an hour, work that job for 5 hours throughout that same 52-week period of time, right? That same year that you would get that 75 extra dollars. 5 hours making $15 an hour and get the same $75. So I don't know. I just like to always think through and encourage people to not feel bad if they're not perfectly getting the pico amount that they need, right? 5.1 or 4.2 or 4.6 or whatever it might be from a savings perspective. What matters more than the 0.2% more APY is the fact that you even have an emergency fund, right? That's what you should be focused on.
I am all about, and we talked about this with me in the episode where we talked about credit cards. I'm not optimized. I should be better suited and optimized on my miles and what to do here and what to do there. So I think the moral of the story here, and I'm glad you touched on this, is getting people to understand sometimes you're going to leave money on the table. You can't get to it all right at the right time. You might have missed out on the big run for treasury bills, or you didn't get the investment into the Bitcoin when you wanted, but you did do it. Don't worry about that. At the end of the day, as long as you have good habits like Abel does, you are crushing it, especially at 19 years old. I love this because at the end of the day, it's all about teaching yourself and becoming an investor and not just a consumer. So in this instance, you're doing great. You're on the right track. Don't worry about those little things. Obviously, we want to see you open the public account because it's just a better overall strategy for your high yield savings account, and you're going to make more money. But don't worry about the little minutia from day to day, because people will spend hours to save pennies, and that is not a good use of time. You guys hear me talk all the time about ROI, return on investment. What is the return on investment for you to sweep that floor if you own a business versus having someone else sweep that floor? Understanding the time and value of every hour of your life is really important as you grow in your financial journey, because then you can get rid of all those tasks that don't live up to what your time is worth. And I think that's very important to understand.
I think the phrase is stepping over quarters to pick up nickels or something like that, right? That's what you're doing, is you're over analyzing and you're over indexing on the importance of the small things. There are major things that, if you do them correctly over a long period of time, like contribute and max out your Roth IRA and invest into the S&P 500, like having a savings account, like opening up retirement accounts and, doing all the right things and earning more income. There's some major, just large stroke, broad stroke actions that you can do with your life and your money that are going to set you up for success even if you don't perfectly optimize everything. So I totally agree. Just making sure that you have some wherewithal, just being self-aware enough to understand where you are and what's important to you.
Yeah, it goes back to an old story, and I've always been a financial guy and really into understanding how to optimize my time. And when my mother and I ran a restaurant together when I was in my 20s, she would drive to the Nichols Bakery to buy our bread every 2-3 days to save like 15 cents a loaf. So I finally stopped her. I'm like, Mother, they deliver. You're driving 8 miles each way in traffic. Who knows what could happen? Wear and tear on the car. You could get in an accident. Just let them deliver and charge us the 15 cents more. It's literally $2 a week. Why are you spending this time to go get these loaves of bread? So it's always about ROI and understanding, because there's only so much time in a day, and we want to make sure you guys are living your days with the best possible quality of life you can.